tweets and Facebook posts, which in many instances are not based on fact. It's been based on hearsay. That being the case, I made it a point yesterday to start my day at Pasco High School, and I spent a good part of my morning there in the cafeteria, watching, looking, talking to students about their experiences. I actually timed serving lines. Ms. Dean, Director of Food Nutrition Service, was with us. Tammy Berryhill, the Assistant Superintendent for High Schools, was there. What I personally saw was not what is being conveyed. Literally, I timed students that there was a significantly long line yesterday at Pasco High School, and I timed a student going through that line, and it literally took 6 minutes and 2 seconds from the time that that student got in the line to the time that they went in, got their meal, and checked out at the register. I will tell you, and I will readily admit, that Pasco High School has some issues. I think Ms. Dean and I have talked about that. It's an old cafeteria. Matter of fact, when I walked through that cafeteria yesterday, it's the same lunch line that I went to 42 years ago. It hasn't changed much. The only thing that's not there is Francis Bellamy. But there's salad lines which are inherently slower than the hot meal line. We were getting kids through there. One of the complaints is that kids were having to stand to eat. I did not see any students standing yesterday. Matter of fact, the complaint was there was no place to sit. There were plenty of seats in the cafeteria that I saw yesterday. They sit outdoors in the outdoor seating area. They sit inside in the cafeteria. The lines, students have choices. They certainly have more choices than we ever thought about having. If you wanted to eat lunch when we were in school, you got one thing. That's what they served. Now they serve hot meals, they serve a la carte, they serve salad bar. They're actually doing the vending machines as well. So I'm not quite sure why a student would go home and say that I didn't have the opportunity to eat, because there was in fact plenty of time for students to be served, and ample time, plenty of time for students to sit there and eat the meal before they were rushed off to the next class. I left there, I went to Wiregrass Ranch High School. I got there during me lunch. They have free lunches. Quite honestly, I was shocked when I walked into the cafeteria, because I thought that what I was going to find was bedlam, and I found quite the opposite at Wiregrass Ranch High School. Ms. White and her team certainly have it under control. It is a crowded facility, and I will tell you that there was a meeting today with the county fire marshal and our fire official. The actual capacity of that room is 460. It is not the 300 that's been reported. It was posted at 300, and they worked with the fire marshal to make sure that the calculations that they had for that cafeteria were in compliance with the fire code. And so the capacity of that facility is 460 students. When I walked in there were no students standing up eating lunch. There were plenty of seats available. Literally, when I walked in there were hardly any students in line to get a meal. When they dismissed the B lunch or C lunch to come in, it was orderly. The students went out the rear doors. They waited a minute, and C lunch comes in. I personally timed the students coming in to be served lunch. It was a full cafeteria, and almost without exception, every one of the students had been served lunch in 10 minutes. 10 minutes. They were seated, they were eating, and more importantly, they were socializing. And I will tell you what I'm finding to be the case, because where we went from 50 minutes to 20 minutes, and I will say in large part it came, 30 minutes, from 50 to 30 minutes. It came when we went through Irma, and we lost 6 days of school. And it's like peeling back that onion. And when you start digging this one back, you find some other problem. And I will tell you, Pasco High School was the worst offender based on their master schedule. They actually had 4 full days that they had to make up. And that's when we started tacking on minutes at the end of the day. It went different for every school. So that's how this conversation started. And then we started talking about getting instructional minutes back to be able to meet the number of minutes that we had to statutorily meet in the event of lost school days. So what we have done is we went from 50 to 30 minutes. The other 20 minutes was intervention time. It was deemed as instructional minutes, and the county gets the instructional minute required time that we needed for those schools. But I will tell you, I did not, and I know that I'm not going to sit here and tell you that we did not experience issues the first day or the first week. Just like I told the student that got in my face yesterday,
Yes, she did.
Somewhat. But I told her, I said, you know what, we are still working out the bugs the first day, first week, just like you're trying to find your classroom. But I will tell you, based on what I saw yesterday with Pasco High School and Margaret Ranch High School, the issues, we don't have issues that are not being worked out. I think it's an unjust characterization of our high schools and the staffs of those schools to indicate that kids, where we got a report that kids were having to go to the bathroom to eat lunch. That never happened at Margaret Ranch High School. Never. So when these characterizations take place, then, and it hits social media, it becomes fact. And I'm telling you that when I started reading some of the reports out there on social media, I took it upon myself to get both Pasco High and Margaret Ranch High and see for myself. I did not see anything that remotely resembled what was being reported in social media. That being the case, we have all the data. We can tell you what time your child went through the line, what time they got there or paid for their meal, and that goes against the start time of that lunch, and we are finding that it is not that lengthy. Again, some lines are longer than others. The salad line is horrendous because they all want to build their own salad. Well, that's going to take more time. But if you really want to eat, then go to a faster line that is either serving the hot meal or the a la carte. I mean, there's no excuse, no reason why kids are not eating lunch at school. That being said, last thing, that's all I'm going to say about lunch times. We continue to monitor that, and we will continue to work with staff and the school-based staff to get those problems, any problems addressed. Finally, you have on your desk, there's an off-agenda item to adjust bell schedules at 5A High School and Zephyr High School. Ms. Coon will speak to those in just a little bit, but those are just a couple minutes here and there because of some things that are going on at those two particular schools. Let me just tell you, 5A High School was a significant increase in student population. They need another minute or two to get between classes. Zephyr High School is due to construction. We're getting ready to rip that place apart. We're starting a new 500-seat classroom student station building, and it's just taking more time to get to class. So that's what's happening with that off-agenda item. So that's all I have, Madam Chair. Thank you.
All right, thank you. All right, Mr. Gadd?
You know, I don't want to belabor a point, but I do think this is important. I want to just share something to echo what the superintendent said. And, you know, sometimes when you're dealing with kids and stuff, things get a little life of their own. And we had a parent that sent us an email. I don't think all the board got it. I think maybe Ms. Bowman got it as I look at the email. But it was about the lunches, and I was concerned about it, of course, immediately, first day of school. So I asked Ms. Adine, our Director of Food Nutrition, to follow up on it. And we had a youngster that was in B lunch and had come along and told his mother, you know, that he couldn't get lunch, all these problems, different things like that. So she was able to respond to the parent, and B lunch started at 11:26. And the mother later found out through an email that her son, in fact, got lunch at 11:26 on the first day of school, and at 11:27 on the second day of school, and at 11:27 on the third day of school. The response we got from the mother, and it's a matter of public record, was, "I so very appreciate you following up on this and the thoroughness of your research. It is certainly understood that there is an adjustment period at the beginning of the year. I appreciate the fact that additional tables were added. You can certainly understand that it was a bit concerning to hear, especially for those kids